Hello, everyone, and happy Halloween. Today, I'd like to discuss a topic I've been writing about rather extensively this past week. So come with me, and let's take a look at gerrymandering, but more specifically, partisan gerrymandering. In recent years, there's been a lot of discussion about gerrymandering, and depending on where you live in the United States, this could mean a lot regarding your representation in state politics. So I'm here to break down the legal jargon and help you understand why you should care about it. First, let's break it down. Partisan, as per the Oxford English Dictionary, is a term that means a strong affiliation to a party, cause, or person. In our case, let's take a strong supporter of Democrats or Republicans. But gerrymandering is a little more difficult to explain. Every 10 years, the government conducts a population survey called a census, and following the census, the states create congressional districts to allocate the population of their citizens. This is how congressional representation is elected, and it's also known as redistricting. However, this opens up an entirely new can of worms and creates opportunity for individuals to manipulate the redistricting process to operate in their favor, and that is known as gerrymandering. Gerrymandering has been an issue since before we've had a name for it, and as technology improves, it only gets easier for those in control. So, what can be done about a problem as old as our nation itself? Before I get into the nitty gritty, here's a quick sidebar about how gerrymandering got its name. The year is 1812, and Massachusetts governor and founding father Elbridge Gerry has just signed a bill to redistrict that created some rather odd looking congressional districts to benefit the Democratic Republican Party. But unfortunately for him, people took notice. Following the redistricting, the Boston Gazette released a political cartoon depicting one of these districts, comparing it to a salamander, referring to it as the new mythical creature, the Gerrymander. And ever since, the term stuck, with the practice of unfair redistricting becoming known as gerrymandering. Talk about a rough legacy to leave behind. Now let's get back to the issue at hand. Why is gerrymandering such a big issue, and how can it be combated? Partisan gerrymandering has been on a historically unprecedented rise since 2019, when the Supreme Court case, Rucho v. Common Cause, declared gerrymandering a political question. This means it was beyond the purview of the Supreme Court, so with no constitutional provisions against it, states began to run wild. Texas and Florida redrew their congressional districts to carve out more Republican seats, and North Carolina too, with a whopping 11 out of 14 districts leaning Republican. But on the other side of the political compass, Democrats in North Dakota and Nevada did the same, with a standout example, Illinois, having 14 out of 17 states lean Democrat. As Michael Lee of the Brennan Center for Justice puts it, partisan gerrymandering is undemocratic. Elections are supposed to produce results that reflect the preferences of voters. But when maps are gerrymandered, politicians and the powerful choose voters, instead of voters choosing politicians. When discussing gerrymandering, it is important to speak about the methods in which it occurs, and how they can overwhelmingly disenfranchise minority voters. The two main methods used to gerrymander are known as packing and cracking. Packing is the process in which districts are redrawn to condense small demographics of voters into single districts. While this practice typically allows small guaranteed victories for the condensed demographic, it comes at the expense of wasting votes that could be used in other districts. On the other hand, cracking relies on splitting voters into multiple districts to limit their overall influence in their respective state. A carefully redistricted map can utilize both methods simultaneously, creating an even stronger partisan gerrymander. In many states, minority populations are strongly tied to a partisan vote, and in states with gerrymandered maps, this often results in minority voices being incredibly underrepresented. While racial gerrymandering has long since been declared illegal by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, or the VRA, the Supreme Court case Alexander v. South Carolina State Conference of the NAACP has given federal courts an impossibly high standard of evidence to prove that racial gerrymandering has occurred at all, even in cases where it has displaced countless amounts of minority voters. Although the outlook on gerrymandering from a federal standpoint looks bleak, state laws to prevent gerrymandering have been adopted in states like California, Arizona, and Colorado, to name a few. These states utilize an independent, nonpartisan committee to redistrict, creating congressional maps that benefit the people rather than the legislators. In the future, we can hope more states will adopt laws against partisan gerrymandering, and that Congress will follow suit. I would like to end this video by asking you, the viewer, to please do your own research and stay informed and active on ways you can make a change in your state politics. With the 2025 election just days away, it is important to do your part in order to inspire change for your country as a whole. Thank you for watching.